Chapter 1, The Silent Heart. Emma Clark moved like sunlight through the quiet corridors of Halston Industries. She was soft-spoken, never one to make a scene, yet no one could deny the gentle impact she left wherever she went. As an executive assistant to the company's enigmatic and wildly successful CEO, Adrian Halston, she had worked behind the scenes, organizing, planning, anticipating his needs with near telepathic precision. And for 2 years, Emma loved him in silence. Adrian Halston was the type of man who turned heads without trying. 36, commanding, sharply dressed in tailored suits, with a voice that melted in boardrooms and blazed on interviews. But Emma saw something more, moments when his shoulders drooped after long meetings, when his smile didn't quite reach his eyes, when he stood alone in the elevator staring into the void. She saw a man who, despite the wealth and acclaim, seemed heartbreakingly lonely. She never told him. How could she? She was just his assistant, a girl from a small Pennsylvania town with a college scholarship and dreams too big to afford. And he was Adrian Halston, untouchable, unreachable. But then everything changed the night of the accident. Chapter 2, The Day the World Paused. It was supposed to be a routine business trip. Adrian had flown to Zurich to negotiate a merger that would make headlines around the world. Emma had stayed behind in New York, handling operations from the main office. She remembered laughing with his driver over a misprinted itinerary just hours before the call came. A private plane. An engine failure. A crash. Emma's heart shattered. The world mourned the loss of the billionaire visionary. Newspapers speculated. Stocks plummeted. Tributes poured in. But Adrian wasn't dead. He was in a coma. For 9 months, he lay silent in a private medical facility, shielded from the press. His family remained absent, his board divided. But Emma never left. She visited every day, holding his hand, reading him reports, telling him stories from the office. She whispered encouragement, sang softly, even if no one else believed he could hear. She cleaned his glasses. Brushed his hair. Read his mother's letters aloud. And she prayed, not for the company, not for her job, but for him. Chapter 3, A Whisper of Hope. Emma. Her head jerked up. It was barely audible, a breath, really, but it was there. His lips had moved. Nurses rushed in. Machines beeped and fluttered. The doctors were stunned. It's impossible, one muttered, flipping through his notes. There were no signs. But Emma already knew. Somehow, deep in her heart, she'd always believed he would come back. Because she hadn't finished loving him yet. And because, somehow, she believed he had felt it. All of it. The next few weeks blurred into long therapy sessions and sleepless nights. Adrian was weak, his voice strained, but his mind was sharp. And he had questions. Who took care of me? The doctors mentioned the staff. The nurses. The team. But when he asked again, eyes piercing through the clinical fog, the truth came out. Emma. She had never missed a day. He asked to see her. Chapter 4, The Look. He was thinner. Paler. But even in weakness, Adrian Halston had a gaze that saw straight through armor. You stayed, he said. Emma stood awkwardly at the foot of the hospital bed, heart in her throat. Of course, she whispered. Why? And that one word opened a dam inside her. All the unsaid things. The letters she wrote and never sent. The birthday gift she left on his desk, unsigned. The way she memorized his coffee preference, not out of duty, but love. Because you mattered, she said simply. He looked at her then, not like a boss. Not like a patient. Like a man seeing light after a long tunnel. Something cracked in him. A tear slipped down. I don't think I deserved it, he whispered. Chapter 5, The Awakening. Recovery was slow. But Adrian insisted Emma be there for everything. He dismissed the private therapists and requested she read to him again. He refused the board's suggestion of hiring a high-powered PR team. "Emma will handle it," he said. She protested. He smiled. "I trust you." The office buzzed. Rumors flew. And Emma, well, Emma couldn't stop herself from loving him more. Until one day, he called her to his apartment. She thought it was about work. But the table was set. Candles lit. Soft music played in the background. "This isn't a dinner meeting," she said. "No," he agreed, standing, fully recovered now, sharp in a navy suit, a glint of something new in his eyes. "This is me asking for the truth." She stared. "Did you love me before the crash?" Her voice trembled. "Yes." He stepped closer. "Then I've wasted 2 years in blindness," he said, cupping her face. "But I'm awake now. And I won't waste another day." Chapter 6, The Proposal. Adrian didn't propose with a ring at first. He proposed with silence. With long walks in Central Park. With shared laughter over morning coffee. With a seat saved beside him at every board meeting. With listening. Then one Sunday morning, he knelt in the middle of the lobby at Halston Industries. Staff froze. Phones clicked. Emma gasped. "I had everything," he said. "But I didn't know what it meant to live until you taught me how to love." A small velvet box. A diamond that caught the sunlight. "Marry me." Tears flooded her eyes. "Adrian, I know I'm late," he said. "But I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." Chapter 7, A Wedding of Souls. They didn't have a grand, glittering ceremony. They married at the garden behind the hospital that once held his silence. Only a few people came, staff, nurses, friends. But everyone there knew the story. Of a woman who waited. And a man who finally saw. When he lifted her veil, Adrian whispered, "Thank you for never giving up." Emma smiled. "Thank you for waking up." Chapter 8, Love That Leads. They started a foundation, one dedicated to silent caregivers, to unspoken heroes. Emma's story went viral. Not for the glamour. But for the courage to love quietly, consistently. "She taught us," Adrian once said in an interview, "that sometimes the loudest love is the one that waits." Final chapter, The Heart Remembers. Years later, in a quiet room filled with the laughter of their daughter and the hum of warm memories, Adrian looked at Emma, his wife, his miracle, and said, "I can't believe I almost missed this." Emma squeezed his hand. Love waited. And the world kept turning, softened just a little by their story.